Welcome to the Metamorphosis Project podcast. I'm your host, Tenya Eichenberg, and this is a space where transformation begins. Here, we dive deep into energy healing, self-care, and the power of mindset to help you break free from old patterns and design a life that feels aligned, vibrant, and authentically you. Each week, we explore the tools, techniques, and real-life experience that guide us toward lasting healing and growth. Because true metamorphosis isn't just about change. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. Now, let's get into this week's conversation. Welcome back to the Metamorphosis Project podcast. I am Tenya, your host, and today I have with me Larisa. Larisa, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story of your transformation and really showcasing that we all go through these turbulent times in life and we're not, oh, my cat's decided to join us. And to kind of show that we're not alone in these struggles, because we all go through struggles, and some of us, our struggles are harder than others.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really excited to be here because I think so often it's so easy for us to feel that we're all alone. Everyone's like, we know that we're not alone, but then when we get onto this pain island, we feel isolated, we feel ashamed, we feel like we just want to hide and don't want to talk about it, or do want to talk about it, but don't know who to talk to and don't know where to go with it.
Right. Or we don't even know how to articulate what's going on.
Yeah,
Just
something's
like
wrong.
I just don't know. I just don't know. So take us back to when things were not. My cat is just he just wants to be involved.
I saw the little tail wagging around there.
Yeah, the other one might pop up here as well. I have two that as soon as they hear me start talking, they understand usually that I'm on camera, and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, we need to join in.
Just like
We
just
we
like
need attention too, Mom." So take us back to before you realized that something had to give, something had to be done. Where were you at? What was your life like at that point?
Yeah. I feel like I've had so many different evolutions of my life, but I grew up in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, so in the prairies. I'm a prairie girl in a city of about 250 to 300,000 people.
Okay,
And it wasn't a big city, but it wasn't a small city. So
right.
I mean, it had enough. We had movie theaters, we had malls, we had Costco, Walmart. We had the basics. Um, but I grew up with this real scarcity driven mindset. And while part of my family was really supportive, another part was really abusive. I grew up with a history of abuse. And even though those that were really supportive were absolutely there for me, the turmoil just it took over. I didn't know how to behave another way. I was living in such default mode. I would hurt myself before I'd let other people hurt me. I'd punish myself for the bad things I'd done before I even had the chance for other people to criticize me, because why wouldn't I put myself down first? Because
Right.
I didn't deserve any better. And so there's this like real just toxic mindset that I had. And it wasn't that people weren't supportive. It wasn't that it was all bad. It's just the good parts were ignored because the bad parts became so big. And I
Right.
literally recorded a lunch and learn episode for my community about like why you shouldn't talk about the bad things that happen. Like why you shouldn't go talk about your drama and trauma to everyone, like your girlfriend, your mom, your sister, your brother, like everyone. But we as women, we want to talk things through. And I remember I found personal growth and I'm like, okay, this is like my salvation. So let me start journaling. And so I'd start journaling and I'd reinforce all the crap. I'd be like, my life is so terrible and I hate this and I hate that. And I'm like, and at first I was just like, it's supposed to make me feel better, but I'm crying. How else can I feel even worse about myself? So this is like a
Yeah.
pretty, pretty normal. It's like a teenage response that went into adulthood. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and it wasn't like I meant to do it. It's just how I was conditioned. And
Right.
when I found personal growth and development, I started working in the financial services arena. And I realized I'm like, well, I'm good at the money side. I understand the product. I love this. It's great. but I don't know how to talk to people. I don't really relate to people well. I don't know the soft side of things. And there's all these like happy people on stage. Those happy people are so full of crap. But there's all these happy people. Maybe if I was happier, I could have a house. So I started doing gratitude. I started doing all the things that the successful people said, and like I did it on the surface, but I hadn't really dealt with the underlying stuff. So I started doing things. Um, and I started going through the motions and going through the mechanisms, and it was good. I learned things, but the rest of me hadn't really caught up. And when I finally moved away from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan to Toronto, Ontario, other side of the country, so I moved to the east side, and I realized there's actual people that like are really happy. They really like their work. They don't complain. They don't gossip about each other. Like, what do you mean this is how people live? It was just so shocking to see people live differently and just have different attitudes than the ones I had been exposed to. And so
Right.
that was my first big opportunity to actually see the stuff that I saw theoretically, I saw on stage as I heard in the recordings actually play out. And it was in simple things. It was like when we went dancing, people smiled. I'd go out social dancing, like swing dancing, and people would smile. People would, I joined Toastmasters, and people would have just the themes of their speeches were different. They were light, they were fun, they were funny, they were quirky, and we'd meet people at the bar and go socialize afterwards, and that's how we built relationships. And
Mhm.
but it was a different energy. And I also realized, I'm like, wow, I have been desperately seeking attention. I've been desperately seeking love, which was there, but I didn't see it. But I was trying to like dramatize my life because I just wanted love. I just wanted connection. And so I finally realized, I'm like, people don't really care about me or my problems. And when I pretend to actually be happy, I get more love, more connection, more attention from those that I spend time with. I'm like, what a better strategy. I'm like, let's just stop the complaint train and let's start actually maybe realizing that things aren't that bad. Like there are really great things in my life. And so it started bit by bit. And over time I began to transition. And I'd say the transitions were slower at first, but when I moved to Toronto, I realized I started working as a consultant. I had been here for many years. I worked in a Pilates studio. People are happy, people are great. But I started working as a consultant for the Proctor Gallagher Institute after I had my son. And
Mhm.
I've always worked with different coaches and gone to seminars, and it was great to be in the hurrah stage. But what really changed is when I started working with Bob, and I really dove into his work because he said so many of the same things.
Yeah.
And I think once you've been in the world long enough, like I'm going to show you my bookshelf. Like once you've been in this world long enough, you can relate to different, like everything's the same. It's all the same
Right.
information presented
Right.
a little differently. So I like I
Yep.
love I'm a personal growth junkie. But he he said a lot of the same things, and they just hit differently. He really was brilliant at tying in the spiritual element with the intellectual element with the physical element.
Mhm.
and and the repetition he encouraged and basically said you have to study every day, like you're not going to get any better if you don't do this every day. And other people said it, but he repeated it like a broken record, and he said
Mhm.
it with this authoritative voice, like you have to listen to him at some point. I'm like, if you don't get the message eventually, like good luck. And studying every day, I started doing the work every day. At first it was like, wow, you're giving me permission to do something I've secretly wanted to do my whole life.
Mhm.
And that's when things really started to shift. Like within a week of stepping into that world of thinking and actually really truly being committed, my whole life started. I looked at life through a whole new lens. I had to put earmuffs on to many of my previous conversations. And at the
Right.
time I was working at a Pilates studio, like people are pretty happy. It's not a bad place to be. Like people are positive, they're working out. If they come in a little grumpy, they leave happier. The staff is pretty good. We have very minor first world problems in a business like that. But I went back and I was like, whoa. I was shocked at the things that came out of people's mouths. I was, yeah, previous people that I used to speak with, and events I used to attend, I was just like, this is not somewhere I could be
Yeah.
anymore. in this capacity. And at first I sort of tolerated it, but it was really difficult. And so that was a big wake up call and a huge shift. And I feel so blessed that it came, especially when I first had my son. The next, I'd say like that was like so that was a big transition. That was like a like a energetic shift. The next one was as I was teaching Bob's materials, I became a consultant and presented his work because I was like, this is powerful stuff. So I applied, I got accepted, and I was teaching his core curriculum. I also realized Bob is brilliant, but I love science. I love strategy. I love the tactical, dirty stuff. And he was so abundance minded and practical woo woo, but I needed more. So I found the world of neurolinguistic programming and hypnotherapy, and I
Mhm.
studied with Tony Robbins. We did all of his programs 10 years prior. And I feel like at this point, like after having immersed myself in Bob's world, after having gone through a different journey, I I started in a little random weekend training that was like, wow, this is so nice. But I found myself somehow, don't know how, I just sign up for everything. I've done everything under the sun. So I found myself in a practitioner training, a master practitioner training, and then a trainer's training for
Mhm.
neuro programming and hypnotherapy. And I was like, okay, this stuff is like another piece of the pie because it just gave me more concreteness to this beautiful stuff Bob was doing. Like, same thing, very different
Right.
languages, very different expressions, very different style of execution.
Mhm.
But while you go through the training, you got to go through your own stuff. And the
Right.
one difference is they didn't let me off the hook. A lot of other times, people are like, well, we'll give you time to find your own space and everything comes at, okay, yes. And because of the nature of this training and the high expectations they had, they didn't let us. They made us face it. And it was
Mhm.
super uncomfortable. There was a lot of tears, man. A lot of tears. It was exhausting. It was like I call it like the Navy SEALs of personal growth trainers training was Navy SEALs of speaker training because they just
Yeah.
it's not complicated, but man, they wipe you out like 18 days of 18-hour days in a row. Like you don't know what end is
Right.
up at the end of
Right.
that. And it's just so much, so much. And so those were some of the things like when I fully immersed myself, I would say is when I finally started to accept it. But those seeds were planted like 20 years prior. And sometimes we dismiss it. We think transformation happens in 5 minutes. Transformation
Yeah.
happens
No.
in an event. That event is like a catalyst, but there's always seeds that are
Right.
planted. There's always something, and I don't think anything is wasted. I see a lot of clients when like some people that come to our community, they're like, well, I want to do this and I want this to happen in like 12 weeks. I'm like, okay, well, you'll have a shift, but you're not gonna have the shift you want because that's
Right.
gonna take a little more time or you need to get yourself in a position so you can literally like skyrocket to a different level and it takes
Right.
10 years to create overnight success.
Yeah, a lot of people think that, especially when you talk about Bob Proctor in that world, that manifestation world, that they can just stop, say, this is what I want, and it's going to appear.
And it
And they don't
can.
understand, right? It can, but they don't understand that they still have to take action,
Yeah.
right? That path can be put in front of them 5 minutes after them saying, this is what I want. But if that path is scary to them, they may take a different path, and so then that manifestation is not going to be as quickly as they thought because they're not taking the path that's designed to get them what they want.
The illogical one that makes
Right.
them want to puke, that is
Right.
scary, that's the right one, that their intuition is saying, go do this, don't do this, right?
Yes. Yep. Yep. Been there.
Yeah. I think
So
we've all
what,
been there. When you can admit it, that's when
yeah,
you're okay with it.
yeah. So what were the seeds that you can now recognize in your past were going, this is, this was the seed that was planted so long ago that brought, that came back into your awareness once you started going down this path of transformation.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a big catalyst was when I first stepped into the world of personal finance. Like it was just the environment, the expectations. We studied personal growth, and that was really where
Mhm.
I was introduced to personal growth at a bigger
Yeah.
scale. Um, there was that moment of realization when I moved across the country, and I realized I'm like, I remember sitting in my house one day going, I nobody really cares about my problems. I remember
They
sitting
don't.
in the chair, nobody cares about my problems. How did I
Right.
never realize this before?
Yeah.
And
Well, that's
even
because we're so used to being told about other people, right? People coming to us and telling us their problems or you know, and we feel like we care. We feel like we want to help. We want to listen. But then you come to the realization that, wow,
is it constructive?
the favor's not being returned.
Yeah, yeah,
And that is a huge awareness to have when, because that takes you down that path of getting off that complaint train, as you called it, right? Because
yeah.
complaining really does not do anything. It does stuff for us, but it does nothing good for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like seeds are constantly planted, but when you get the awareness of them is when
Mhm.
they're meaningful. I mean, between that moment where nobody cares and starting with Bob Proctor, I had a divorce, I lost everything, my lost my business, lost my whole life basically. I had to move in with my father. That was a humbling experience. But I would say that wasn't the big transition point. The transition point was I'm ready to start again. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I have no idea where I'm going, but I had an element of faith, and I'm like, I'm just going to do this. I don't know why. I'm going to just keep moving forward. And there were so many little moments, and now I can pinpoint certain events that were divinely orchestrated to help me step into this business. Like I love what I do. I've been doing this work as a student for almost 3 decades, not quite 3 decades, but like 25 years, almost
Hmm.
30 years. Like it's been a while. And I'm like, the fact that I'm saying this is shocking to me. I don't know how I'm not 25 anymore.
Our
I,
brains are
I,
still there.
yeah, I got a few of them, but this light is pretty generous for me. Um, and like time really does fly, but when you do look back and connect those dots, when you have those serendipitous moments, when I took the leap to join the Proctor Gallagher Institute, when I took the leap to do the NLP training, I've done so many things without knowing why.
Hmm.
That's something I think has always been a strength. I've always had the faith that I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm just doing it.
Right.
And I'd say that's definitely a superpower because some people don't have the courage. I've had the guts to do a lot of things that I'm like, why did I even do this? But looking back, it totally makes sense. Looking forward, I didn't always have the money. I didn't always have the time. I didn't always have the circumstance. Like things weren't always pre-planned, but I
Hmm.
had opportunities and I felt compelled to take them. And so those are the times where you jump and where you leap without really knowing if it's going to work out, how it's going to work out. But you go in wholeheartedly and you learn what you need to learn
Hmm.
and you make the best experience of it. Like we talk a lot in our trainings and we're like, who's responsible for you getting value in this training? I'm like, you're spending your time, you're spending your money. Is it my job to give you value? I know I'm
Right.
going to give you value. Like I absolutely am 100% confident I am going to like rock your world. I know I can do that because I've this is like my life. This is what I do. And I'm not saying it from a conceited place. But what I also know is if you don't choose to get the value, if you don't choose to pour yourself in and do the work, you're not going to
Right.
get it. And
Right. And that's
ultimately,
that's the bottom line is those when we come into these places of transformation, it really is up to us. It's not up to who we're getting the information from to say this is exactly what you need to do, because no matter what they tell you, no matter what we tell our clients that they need to do, if they don't practice it, if they don't jump in with both feet and try the techniques that we're suggesting for a period of time, we can't be held responsible for their outcome.
Mhm.
I mean, we can't be held responsible for their outcome, period. But they have to jump into that. They have to, like, just like you did, just like I've done in the past. We jumped in and said, this is what I need to do to get to where I want to be. And I think that's a strong message to put across to your clients is that I'm going to give you value, but it's up to you what you take from it, what you find valuable. I think that's great. I think that's a lovely message to give to your clients.
I think it's one that we need to be reminded of often. Like
Absolutely.
now it's so natural to me, but I used to go in and I used to go, well, what am I going to get from this? I'm paying money, I'm paying time, but now I'm like, I don't have to like you. I don't have to agree with you. I don't even have to really feel good around you, but I know I can learn from you. Like
Right.
I can learn from anyone, anything, any situation because I choose to, regardless of my personal opinions. And I know so often people are like, I'm blocked. Like I can't receive because you're not vibing with me. Okay, you're not going to vibe with everyone, but I know that because I choose, like learning is such a high priority for me, and bettering and growing myself is a high priority. I'm going to get value from everything. I can get value like driving to pick up my son from camp today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go do that today. And you know what? I'm going to get some kind of value if I choose to say, I'm going to look for something entertaining to think about or whatever. I don't
Right.
know. Maybe I'll learn
Right.
about someone's biking technique. I don't know, but I know that I can find something to be amused with, entertained by, or learn from if I choose to.
And that's the bottom line is life is a choice. Life is an absolute choice. It's choosing to look at things with a silver lining or looking at them as a black hole. What are we going to look at them as? It's definitely a choice. I think having that perception,
Mhm.
right? Especially with your son, like you're teaching him to see the value in everything that he does as well by doing it yourself, right? He's seen you see that. He's seen you do that and apply it in your own life. And so he's going to grow up being able to see the value in everything he does, good or bad. I mean, we don't try to label things good or bad, but when things don't work out in our perceived favor,
Mhm.
is there still value in that? Absolutely.
And I think sometimes and I love how you said life is a choice because that is powerful. Life really is a choice. My son is 7. He's in this phase where he's um, how was this? Bad, awful, blah, blah, blah. And he focuses on like the one thing that went wrong in the whole day. And he's like,
Right. Right.
my life is like a tragedy because, someone took away 5 minutes from what I was doing.
Right.
Then um he forget, like when we get in the car, I'm like, well, tell me about one thing that went well. And so sometimes I've had to like really, because this only started probably in the last like several months. He's always been like fairly competent in the let's talk about gratitude or good things. And then someone must have said something at school or he saw something on a YouTube video where
Right.
it's like, first world
Right.
problems.
Unfortunately, we're not the only ones who are influencing our children.
Oh no. So he's like still on that train, but it's gotten better. But when he first got on, it was so hard for him to see things a different way. And
Yeah.
now he's like, I'm like, you need a good attitude if you want that iPad. You need a good attitude if you want Playdate. Like, and so we, at first it was a little bribery to like get him to admit, like, what's good about your day? What are you
Right.
grateful for? But now he can do it more on command.
Mm-hmm.
And because before it was such an organic conversation, and then all of a sudden it was just like this drop,
Right.
bomb
Right.
drop, and we forget that it takes work, it takes conditioning. Like he sees me do this work, he talks, he listens to some of my client calls, and he sometimes randomly busts out these like philosophical questions or discussions, I'm like, how do you? Where did you come up with these? He's like, well, I heard you talking about this on this call, or he just
Right.
randomly pulls pieces and it's brilliant. And then other times it's like you miss the obvious thing, like what's something good about today? But that's something I do. If I'm having like one of those really not so hot days, I may
Right.
not be able to be grateful. So what do? What's good? What
Right.
are the good things? And then after I identify them, I'm like, okay, now I can actually be grateful for it. But I have to like soften the blow. I can't
Yeah.
go like, ah! This day is just not working to like, I'm so grateful for everything. Like you have to.
Right. And that's part of being human, right? Human being having this human experience when you get into this, get into that spiritual part of the learning. We're in this human experience and we're supposed to experience highs and lows.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be able to come out of the lows and come back into the highs and level out and just be um compassionate with ourselves and be empathetic with ourselves.
Wave,
And
nice little wave. Not the
yeah,
heart rate.
right, exactly. And we're supposed to be able to feel sadness and grief and worry and shame, but we're not supposed to sit in it.
No.
We're supposed to feel joy and excitement and happiness and giddiness. But again, we're not supposed to just sit in it. We're supposed to share all of those emotions because emotions are just energy and motion. It's our messaging system.
Yeah.
And it's when we have those low vibration moments, those times when we're feeling sad or lonely or depressed, it's our body telling us, hey, there's something going on here that is uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Why is it uncomfortable? What is it that is causing this right now? And when you can stop and take a look at what it is, it may not be as gigantic as our ego is telling us that it is.
Yeah.
And then we can stop and go, well, what is the good part of this?
Hmm. And I love that you brought up emotions because I was thinking about the journey, right? I was very familiar with the quote unquote negative emotions, but I wasn't at like I heard people say the word happy, joyful, excited, exuberant. Like I heard the words. I didn't comprehend them internally.
Well,
And it
nobody
took a
teaches
long
us.
time.
Right.
They
Nobody
don't.
teaches us what these we're it's easy to teach people what hard emotions are
Yeah.
because a lot of times you can see those, you can see anger, you can see sadness, you can see frustration, right? But when people are happy, one of the first things that they're asked is, what are you on? Why are you so happy?
What's
And then
wrong?
that kind of takes away that I can be happy feeling, right? Because you're like, oh, well, I can't be happy unless I'm on something.
Mhm.
And welcome to our alcoholic world. No. It's like we why can't we just be happy with what life is given us?
And I think a lot of people seek happiness. Like so many people are on this desperate journey to seek happiness, but they don't really know what they're looking for.
Right.
They haven't defined their criteria of what it will actually look like, sound like, feel like to be happy. They haven't really identified with previous happy moments to even know what happy is
Right.
for them.
Right.
And is it really happy or is it excitement? Is it joy? Is it curiosity that they're seeking? There's so many other words, but we don't really use those in our vocabulary on a regular basis to
We
think
don't. We
emotions. Like
don't.
if we just use those words, I had to like literally study and learn how to feel good things, but now I'm like,
Oh,
I feel great. I feel so good, so
had
easily.
to reparent ourselves in how to have emotions.
Yeah. Simple. It's a basic, but
It is.
basics are the basics.
Yeah. Yeah. And now you get to teach your son.
Yes.
And even though my kids are all adults, they can still learn from me what I wasn't able to teach them when they were younger, that what emotions look like, that it's okay to, if you have a sad moment, like it's okay to step away and have that sad moment.
Mhm.
It's certainly uncomfortable, especially if you're in a public place, but it's just something that we have as a society has pushed away, right? You can't air your dirty laundry is what just popped in my head. Like, don't air your dirty feelings. And crying and shame and those kinds of feelings are considered dirty feelings. And so, yeah, we definitely have to shift that and change that going forward.
Mm-hmm. It's a new narrative. I feel like people in our worlds, I don't know about your experience, but I know I spend a lot of time with people that think like me, and I spend a lot of time with my clients.
Hmm.
Don't spend a lot of time with other people. And so
Yeah.
I mean, this is commonplace. And often when I meet people that don't have this as the normal way of thinking, I just I it's these days it's much more difficult than it used to be because I just don't spend time in those arenas. And people that
Right.
come to our world over the first couple months, they learn and they realize like, oh, it can be normal to actually feel good. It can be okay if you have like a crappy day and still have a good outcome at the end of it. It can like because we are human, we do have that scale of emotions. And I think it's important to keep checking in on and be mindful and diligent with it. We usually study emotions for probably a month or two, usually in the summer. We might do ours in the fall this year. But just it's such an important thing to remind yourself that you have
Right.
and the impact that they truly make.
Yeah. So now you're a coach, and who do you specifically coach?
So we work with professional women who have an interest in personal growth and development. They've been to seminars, they've read books, they've listened to podcasts, they've worked with coaches. They have an interest in bettering themselves in their lives, and they have good lives, but they know there's like something holding them back. They're just like, I could be doing better.
Right.
There's that feeling like, well, 80% of my life is really good, but there's this thing I'm ashamed of, so I just ignore it conveniently or I pretend it's not there. And secretly they know if they could just put a little attention in that arena, they would just feel so much more alive and better within themselves. So it's, yeah, sometimes these like dramas and traumas follow us around and we can bury them, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah, they're always going to show up.
They are. And so we weed the mental garden on a
Hmm.
consistent basis, but we also help really pave the path for a bright and beautiful future. And so we work with clients one-on-one and in a group setting. One-on-one, we help them deal with drama and trauma very quickly. And then in a group setting, we have mindset trainings, we focus on health, wealth, money, like wealth is in money,
Right.
relationships and like big career or contribution driven goals. And then we work in an accountability capacity and we practice using our tools. We have morning mindset calls that we do. So every morning we have one cohort that meets for an hour and we
Hmm.
literally study, journal, meditate, do use our tools every day. And we mix it up, kind of like you said, emotions are energy and motion. Like your life is in motion.
Right.
You can't just do the same three things the same way every day. You've got to mix it up
Right.
to get a human experience. And so
Yep.
we do that and we give people beautiful ways to just get to know themselves better than anyone else and be really honest, truthful, and vulnerable. So yeah.
Nice. Very good.
Yeah.
So where can these women find you to work with you?
Yeah, I'd say probably the best place is stopprocrastinatingbook.com. It is my book, which I don't have a oh, I do have a copy of here. We just came back from the cottage. So Stop
Perfect.
Procrastinating book. So it's something I wrote a little while back to help you discover the secrets to time, money, and freedom. So that is the best place to find us, and then you can get on our email list and explore from there or find our website from there.
Perfect. Larissa, are there any nuggets that you want to leave the listeners with to kind of take with them and to ponder on?
I think never assume your current reality is your future destiny. There is there are seeds that God has planted inside of you, and they are there. And whether you choose to nurture them and cultivate them is up to you. But there is some kind of beauty, there is brilliance, there is something in there. And it's your job to water your mental garden, to give yourself the opportunity to flourish and dare to dream big. Don't hold yourself back because it's not going to feel good. It's not sustainable. You want to play big in your life because you only have one life to live.
I love that. I love that. Larissa, thank you so much for coming on to the Metamorphosis Project podcast. I look forward to hearing how you are expanding on your programs. I just look forward to following you in the future.
Beautiful. Well, thanks so much for having me. This was a true pleasure, and I hope you have a beautiful day and beautiful rest of summer.
You too, Day. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on the Metamorphosis Project podcast. I hope today's episode brought you inspiration, joy, and a spark of empowerment. Remember, transformation is an incredible journey, and every single step you take towards self-care and healing brings you closer to the life you truly desire. If this episode uplifted you, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us to share this journey of hope, resilience, and joy with many listeners. For more tips, support, and inspiration, come and visit us at designyourexistence.com. Until next time, keep growing, keep healing, and keep shining brightly. You are absolutely worth every bit of love and care you give to yourself. Take care, stay joyful, and be well.